the language in it. It's very, very positive. I mean, I like the language so much, I've included it in faculty and staff policies. And we'll show you where that language is. We also talk about Title IX. When I talked about the Simpson case, that was a Title IX case. And what's Title IX? Title IX is a broad law that talks about no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be denied the benefits of any program receiving federal funding. What Title IX does is it prevents student-on-student sexual harassment. And then we talk about Title VII. That's where we got that definition. That's why I showed you that definition early on. Title VII is an employment law, but that gives us the definition. So I talked about the Student Code of Conduct. The language that I love in here is that the university strives to make this place a place where people are treated and treat one another with respect and courtesy. It's kind of the golden rule. In the last, probably, now it's been 2 months, I heard someone refer to the platinum rule. Has anyone heard of the platinum rule? I mean, if the golden rule is treat others the way you'd want to be treated, the way this person described the platinum rule was treat others the way they would like to be treated. I thought, well, you know, maybe that has some merit there. But the Student Code of Conduct is always our basis for talking about anything. Then I mentioned I'm going in numerical order, I apologize. Title VII is that employment law. That's where we get our definitions that we talked about earlier. And then Title IX, there's that broad language. And again, Title IX is a very, very long thing. But that's where Title IX covers student-on-student sexual harassment. I have a couple of scenarios. What do you think? I have Tom and Steve working out at the rec center, and they're making loud comments about the women who are working out. They're talking about their appearance, their dress, their physical shape. Could that be sexual harassment?
Yes.
Okay. What if it's the reverse?
Yes.
The girls are there talking about the guys.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely that can be sexual harassment. Sue, who is Tom's supervisor, suggests they go out for dinner, and in inviting him out, it hints that he may be in line for a pay raise or a promotion. Could that be sexual harassment?
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely. What about Jay telling sexually explicit jokes in the office for all to hear? We've got Frank, who works there as well. Frank's uncomfortable with these jokes, and he's uncomfortable confronting Jay, so he contemplates or actually quits his job. Could that be sexual harassment?
Yes. Yeah.
It could be. John and Mary are good friends and share every last detail of every last date with one another. They work in the same office, and they start talking about their dates in that office, and they're making some of their coworkers uncomfortable. Could that be sexual harassment? It could be. It's not John and Mary harassing one another if they always share this information, but when that information is spilling out and making it an uncomfortable atmosphere, it could be sexual harassment. Mary uses the phrase, "that's so gay," when she doesn't like an idea. Could that be sexual harassment?
Yes.
Absolutely. You know, what do you do when you encounter someone who's doing that?
Well, all you can do is tell them that you don't like that. It's very cliche and used widely. I mean, third graders use that and they don't realize what they're doing. So you have to assume the same for a lot of adults. They may not even realize that they're doing it. If they continue to do it after you've notified, then it makes you uncomfortable, then I think it crosses the line of sexual harassment.
Okay. Any other comments, thoughts?
I mean, you could always inform them, like you said. Giving a person the knowledge, you know, hey, this is, like you said, you know, not appropriate. That is the manner that should be, it's the course of action we should take. Or, you know, ask them to replace that specific vernacular with something that is more politically correct or you know, something that's more appropriate to the situation.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we've gone through phases. I mean, years and years and years ago, how often did you, I mean, maybe you didn't hear the phrase, but if someone didn't like something, they'd say, well, that's retarded. You know, how do you think that makes people who are mentally challenged or people who feel? You know, it's kind of that same thing. So you're right. We've gone through those phases, and we hope that we can educate. But this could indeed create that hostile, intimidating, or offensive environment. Now, we've been talking about sexual harassment. We've talked about the definitions, and basically there are two kinds of sexual harassment. The first they call quid pro quo, or this for that. Some people call it the casting couch. You know, those blatant things. If you go out with me, I'll give you an A. If you go out with me, I'll give you a promotion. The second one rather, is that hostile environment. That verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that can create a hostile, intimidating, or offensive environment. Now, I've just put up on there some things that I think could create a hostile, intimidating, offensive environment. I think things like emails, pictures, posters, hugs, touching, unwanted comments or jokes. You know, it's pretty wide-ranging. In the residence halls, I've used the example of, let's say I decide to decorate my room with nude photos. It's my room, I live there, and I guess I can decorate it that way. But the minute I put those photos on the outside of my door, what could be happening?
Sexual harassment.
I could be creating a hostile, intimidating, offensive environment because people have to walk by my door. Yes?
Just a side note, with the emails, pictures, it's becoming more and more common with things like Facebook and MySpace. And even though it's not physical, it's just over the internet, you make a comment on a picture or you send out a mass email about somebody, that too can come across as sexual harassment.
It certainly can. Have you ever heard of imposter accounts? I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I guess I live in the dark ages. But I was amazed that someone could actually create an account, pretend, I mean, it's like identity theft. They pretend that they're you, they use their phone, take a picture of you, could be a casual acquaintance. They can post anything they want. And do you know how long it takes to get an imposter account off of one of those sites? Almost a week.
Longer than it takes to put it on.
You're absolutely right. You have to prove, it's almost like you're the criminal. You have to prove that you are who you are. The reason I know this is this happened to my son. A former friend did that, took a picture with his camera phone, claimed he was my son, posted all this awful stuff, and when we contacted, and I think at that point in time it was MySpace, how do you get this down? I had to take a picture of him holding the account number. It was like a mugshot. And then we had to email that picture and say, this is who we are. And of course, that now former friend couldn't remember the password he created. That was in a moment of rage, and so he couldn't remove it. And it took almost a week to get that down. So you're right. That is a way. I mean, it's not just the imposter accounts, but things that you post or things that you say can indeed create that hostile, intimidating, offensive environment. Unwanted touching, hugs. There are people on campus who just hug. Every time they come in a room, they hug. Probably would have been